He brought attitude to Starfleet and proved that action heroes can make good fathers. He's the emissary of Bajor and the man who punched Q. He's Benjamin Sisko. Remember that name. Star Trek Deep Space Nine is the most unappreciated and undervalued of all the multiple series in the Star Trek franchise. And its main character, Benjamin Sisko, is the most unsung and underrated of the many Trek captains. Star Trek may have been built on the shoulders of William Shatner, and Patrick Stewart is a world-class actor, and Scott Bakula has quantum leaped his way into being a genre favorite. But when it comes to Star Trek captains, the most interesting, intense, and realistic was definitely Benjamin Lafayette Sisko, played by Avery Brooks on Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Ben Sisko is a very complicated man, with more facets to his character and details to his backstory than the other captains. While he is a strong, efficient, and decisive leader, he's also a flawed man with tons of emotional baggage weighing him down. He's clearly the most human and relatable of the numerous series captains. When we first meet Sisko, he is emotionally damaged. His wife's been killed by the Borg, and he's struggling with being a single father. He has a lot of anger, and he's questioning his commitment to Starfleet. And although he will come to grips with some of his issues in the DS9 pilot episode, The Emissary, he will remain damaged. Unlike the unimpeachable Picard, he will continually battle with his own flaws, and flaws are what make a character great. Many viewers complain that Sisko and the crew of Deep Space Nine didn't go where no man has gone before. He remained on his starbase while trouble came to him. Although some think of that as a problem, I would argue that this difference is what makes Sisko so unique and special. Sisko wasn't just an explorer, he was a statesman and a politician. While the other captains could just stop by to save the day and then warp away to a new adventure, satisfied with a job well done, Sisko didn't have that option. He had to stay and deal with the long-term ramifications of his actions and decisions. Sisko had a permanent post and a responsibility to the Bajoran people, both as a representative of Starfleet and as a religious figure known as the Emissary. Sisko had, by far, the best long-term story arc. Over 7 years, Ben Sisko went from wanting to quit Starfleet to embracing a very difficult assignment as commander of Deep Space Nine. He was initially uncomfortable with the mantle of the Emissary, which was forced on him, but he came to understand and embrace his role as a religious figure. He began as a bitter widower, grieving the loss of his wife Jennifer and struggling to raise a son under less than ideal circumstances. And later, he became very comfortable with fatherhood and bonded well with his son, Jake. He even found love again and got engaged to Cassidy Yates, motivating him to buy land on Bajor to plan his retirement. He was promoted from commander to captain. He was once mentored by Curzon Dak, which caused some initial awkwardness when he met Jadzia Dax, but he soon accepted his role as her superior officer and later of Ezri Dax. He never stopped growing and changing. Through Sisko, the Deep Space Nine series was able to comment on things that other series and other captains couldn't, such as the bonds of family and also issues of race. The excellent Season 6 episode, Far Beyond the Stars, saw Sisko living out the life of 1950s pulp writer Benny Russell, working for a sci-fi magazine in an urban American city. The episode deals with the United States history of racial injustice. It's not only one of the best Deep Space Nine episodes, but one of the best Star Trek episodes ever made. Avery Brooks just knocks it out of the park with an exceptional performance. The final scene where Benny completely breaks down due to the utter unfairness of societal prejudice is powerful and heartbreaking. It's an amazing episode. Sisko had average, relatable hobbies, whereas the more cerebral Picard liked reading Shakespeare, studying archaeology, and solving crimes on the holodeck. Sisko enjoyed more basic things like cooking and playing baseball with his son. It just seemed so normal. Sisko has a few qualities in common with Captain James Kirk. He has a dynamic personality, he's quick to action, and he's very willing to break the rules when necessary. His frontier-like posting in the distant, dilapidated Tarak Nor space station, guarding the wormhole, which is a portal to another part of the universe, left Sisko in a position where he had to adjust and improvise, rather than following the usual Star Trek protocol. This makes his style more similar to Captain Kirk's independent, do-it-my-way method, which Captain Picard once described as cowboy diplomacy, and Captain Janeway said would get Kirk kicked out of Starfleet in her day. Sisko, like Kirk, had his own headstrong way of dealing with things. But despite these similarities, Sisko was shown to be a deeper, more well-rounded character than Kirk. Kirk remained a figure defined by his exploits as the captain of the Enterprise, but we see little of his family life. or his past, or any major character changes over the decades. Now, Captain Jean-Luc Picard and Ben Sisko are two very different characters. Sisko is an imperfect and relatable human being, while Picard is a mostly flawless paragon, demonstrating the utmost perfection of the human condition. Picard never falls, while Sisko often stumbles. The best way to look at the crucial difference between Jean-Luc and Ben is to see how they handle very similar scenarios. Let's look at two excellent episodes with comparable dilemmas. The Next Generation episode, I, Borg, and the DS9 episode, In the Pale Moonlight. In both episodes, Starfleet is threatened by an overwhelming enemy who could very possibly destroy the Federation. And in both episodes, the respective captains see a chance to defeat this seemingly undefeatable enemy, but doing so means making a questionable, immoral, and unethical decision. Let's analyze both stories and see how the captains handle this dilemma. In the 5th season Star Trek The Next Generation episode, I, Borg, the Enterprise crew capture one of the Borg, who they name Hugh. They discover a way to use him to destroy the rest of the Borg collective. The crew debate whether it is ethical to sacrifice one individual to protect the greater whole. Picard is initially willing to use the prisoner as a pawn to eliminate the Borg. Soon, however, Picard changes his mind and makes the decision that Hugh is an independent, sentient being, and it would be wrong to sacrifice him. They release Hugh, and Picard remains morally unshakable, never breaking from his staunch ethical code. Now let's look at how the inimitable Sisko handles a similar situation. Think about the DS9 episode, In the Pale Moonlight, which took place at the height of the Dominion War. Starfleet was taking heavy losses and desperate in need of allies. Sisko had the cunning idea of tricking the Romulans into entering the war on the Federation side. With the assistance of the former Cardassian intelligence officer Garak, Sisko manipulated the Romulans into entering the war as a Federation ally. He lied, he schemed, and he even became an accomplice to murder, all in a desperate effort to create a valuable ally for the Federation. It's a choice we could never imagine the impeccable Picard making, but Sisko is a very different man from Jean-Luc, and not a paragon of virtue. As Sisko said in the DS9 episode Culus,
I'm not Picard.
It's very true. At the end of In the Pale Moonlight, Sisko is clearly tormented with guilt by what he did, but knows he will have to live with the decision for the greater good. Sisko has faced a lot of adversity, whether as a Starfleet officer, as a statesman, as a father, or as an emissary. But he faced every problem courageously and managed to balance all these divergent and difficult aspects of his life and develop into a well-rounded person. As Ben Sisko once told Worf in the episode The Way of the Warrior, running may help for a little while, but sooner or later the pain catches up with you, and the only way to get rid of it is to stand your ground and face it. Sisko did that and created a life that consisted of more than just his role as a captain. Whereas Kirk and Picard were afraid of a life outside the captain's chair, Sisko was planning for his retirement. He excelled both as a captain and as a man, and that's why Ben Sisko is the greatest Starfleet captain of any Star Trek series. And that's the end of my video. And if you want to be as awesome as Captain Sisko, give this video a like and subscribe. Sisko would approve. Thank you, and see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.